Hello, it's Howard Rheingold. CoreyRennell is the nephew of an old college roommate of mine. He contacted me because he's interested in learning how to use social media to get the word out about his new enterprise, which I think is pretty interesting. I'm not all that knowledgeable about producing food, but I'm very interested in his idea of creating what he calls fair capitalism. I think a young Harvard graduate setting out in the world, trying to reinvent capitalism is an interesting story. If you can help him, I will leave some contact information.
I'm CoreyRennell, and I founded a company called Core Foods, which produces the first perishable nutrition bar. It's sweetener-free, all organic, local, fresh ingredients just pressed together, which is why it's perishable. It's real food. So I founded the company after graduating from college and sort of looking at the marketplace of offerings that I had. 67% of my classmates went into investment banking, and so I wanted to have some kind of profession that would contribute to the world, make it a better place, and most of the companies that I looked at working for, I really couldn't stand by their belief system or believe in the product they were creating. So I traveled to 12 different tribes on Earth, studying their traditional foods as part of my obsession with nutrition. And over the course of that travel, became inspired by how the nutritional principles in each one of these places was coincident, and also across all of these different tribes, their value system was focused on the community over the individual. And so, as a result, I wanted to found it. I thought, why don't I try to found my own company? So, based in traditional values. So, I started with how can we make all the profits, the support of the community, go back to the community. So the company I founded now donates 100% of net proceeds to charity. We also commit to living wage minimums, so every single employee has to make a living actual wage in the place where they live. We also cap the executive salaries at the industry average to make sure that the people running the company aren't just buying bigger houses and nice jet skis. They're putting all that money back into the community, and then it has a zero carbon footprint to make sure that it's good for the earth too. So this is the first, I guess, test company under this model, and I'm hoping that it demonstrates that we can develop a new way of doing business and sort of revolutionize capitalism as we understand it to be fair capitalism, where we encourage people to create ideas and develop businesses, but we also ensure that social and environmental wellness is protected.
So what's the product?
The product is the Core Meal. It's a complete meal in a package, and it's a balanced ratio of complex carbs, healthy fats, lean proteins. All the sort of research that's gone into it is based on looking at enduring trends from 200,000 years of nutrition. So not just, over the past 100 years we've become quite confused about what to eat and whether it's high protein or low fat, but for about 200,000 years we were pretty sure about the things that we were eating, and that was predominantly plants, mostly raw food, and balances of fruits, nuts, seeds, grains, and vegetables. And so we've tried to recreate that in the bar. It's all fresh, locally grown ingredients, and it lasts about 4 hours of energy. So a lot of people eat it instead of lunch at work, or take it for breakfast if they're running out of the house.
How does this relate to the different countries you went to?
Yeah, so when initially I was a mountaineer, and named some new mountains in the Tian Shan, and got noticed by the BBC and Discovery Channel, who teamed up to take me and 5 other semi-professional athletes around the world visiting these different tribes. So since I had a mountaineering background and it was just more like fun with my buddies on the weekends, and we got lucky and named some new mountains, I was standing next to 5 semi-professional athletes who were basically male supermodels. And so I really wanted to transform my fitness quickly, and so I needed to be eating regularly because I was exercising heavily. And so I started grabbing bars, Cliff Bar, Power Bar, to try to make sure I was eating, but they were all full of sort of refined sugar and flour and oil and things that were increasing my pudge rather than decreasing it. So as a result, I started making my own bars, just with the basic, a complex carbohydrate, a lean protein, and a healthy fat, all from one source, all raw, and then just pushed them together. And then initially it was kind of gross, but as I traveled to 12 different tribes, each of those tribes, their traditional cuisine inspired the creation of a new flavor in a bar.
Well, so you're running a company. You have to have more money coming in than going out. And you mentioned capitalism, and that usually has to do with investors providing the resources that you need to grow your company in return for profits. So how are you going to get investors if you turn your profits back to the community?
Yeah, so we can't take on any investors, and that's part of the challenge of developing a business with this model. But I'm quite frustrated with the way things work in the world, where large sums of money create larger sums of money, and sort of I want to face the challenge of having to do it all with my own sweat and blood, and so it's all been just personally backed loans and the gracious support of people who have contributed their time. And so far, it's been wildly successful, and I'm excited to see where it can go.
Wonderful. So am I.